Hello everyone, you are on the Player Review Team channel. Yes, we don't spoil you with daily reviews very often, but let's agree that worthy cards don't come out every day either. However, today is exactly such a case. Of course, we will pay more attention to Camavinga, but Ferdy will not be left aside. As always, it will be dynamic and engaging, so stay tuned. We start with Mr. Camavinga, who has a lean body type at 182 centimeters and 5+5 stars. Which chemistry style suits Eduardo the most? Of course, anchor. In playstyles, we see an excellent set both for a defensive midfielder and for a classic box-to-box or even a playmaker. However, Kama will also be good as a left back. But let's take it step by step. To begin with, our guy has decent off-the-ball pace, good jockey agility, and a gold intercept. In other words, he is suitable for playing left back. That said, in this case, you need to involve him in attacks, considering rapid. That is, Kama should meet the ball more often and carry it forward, or at least make incisive passes from his zone. Although we used him the old-fashioned way, we accelerated through a 1-2 pass to cut opponents, rewarded with a pass, and smashed a Trivela. Because what is a review without goals? Actually, you would rather say, what is a review without Trivelas? And that's also true. Look, Kama has no traits except Silver Power Shot. Here is, in fact, his not-so-successful attempt. By the way, in the FC26 beta, silver power shots fly like gold ones, so Camavinga easily puts away even the most distant Trivelas, and from a standstill. That is, you don't need to run up before the shot. At the same time, despite the absence of such playstyles as low-driven shot or finesse, Eduardo is definitely not useless inside the box, given his very high shooting stats. He's got a decent R1, but more importantly, agile left stick control and a nice model, at least for someone who is 182 centimeters tall. Sure, someone like Pedri is more nimble, but do you know where Kama is in no way worse than Pedri? In ball winning. Pay attention to how he bites into the opponent with anticipate. Kama has good aggression and tenacity, so he can trigger a tackle himself or put his body in the opponent's way. All of this combined allows him to win the ball simply by running alongside a player, then use R1 to push forward and find a teammate, followed by an incisive pass. We'll get back to him later, but for now, note the silver jockey and its usefulness for catching a striker in this episode. So, what's next? Ah yes, gold intercept. Here, Camavinga even surpasses Pedri simply due to physiology. In simple terms, Kama is taller and has longer legs, so he intercepts more often. On top of that, good agility allows him to quickly transition into dribbling, escape a tackle, or start an attack with an incisive pass. And now the most interesting part, automation. Pay attention. When playing as a box-to-box, Camavinga drops all the way to his own penalty area, so you don't have to use him as a holding defensive midfielder. Again, watch the Frenchman's movement in this episode. He opens into free space, but as soon as possession is lost, Kama instantly drops back and automatically wins the ball. In the next episode, we switch incorrectly and pull the Frenchman out, but he quickly gets back and automatically collides with the opponent. Back to passing. Note that incisive pass is probably the most useful passing playstyle for a central zone player, because pink pass works well even without the trait. To sum up, Camavinga is a must-have SBC if you play with a midfield 3 or even a double pivot, and especially if you use box-to-box players. We see him specifically as a left box-to-box, of course because of his left foot and Trivela. Kama's price tag of 500,000 coins is perfectly reasonable, so he is assembled quickly. We understand that SBC cost doesn't matter much given the current grind, but still, no one would do 25 squads just for this card. Simply put, we recommend him. Let us know if you plan to complete Kama after our review or if you already have. And if not, write what your midfield looks like. Now we won't delay and move on to the role-changed Rio Ferdinand, who we somehow managed to break in the last loan match. But that's not the point. Rio has a unique lean body type at 189 centimeters and unfortunately 4+5 stars. When it comes to chemistry style, it's obvious. The Englishman needs engine. In traits, everything is fine, except he lacks Trickster and a bit of Rapid. Otherwise, it's all good. By the way, Rio can also play central attacking midfielder, which is at least useful. Let's start with the fact that it would have been better for EA to release a new Rio card in his native central defender position with a 99 rating, and then you could make 25 or even 35 squads. But what can you do? We will run and score. As for running, everything is fine. There's speed boost, though you have to trigger it, and lengthy acceleration. In general, everything is there. But the most fun thing about Ferdy's card is that even if speed boost doesn't work, he will still outrun opponents, thanks to his long legs and the same lengthy acceleration. To be honest, for all the uniqueness of his lean body type, it's a bit awkward. You can feel that Ferdy is not really a forward. On the other hand, there is first touch, which increases sharpness after receiving the ball and briefly opens a window of opportunity. In fact, if we look at these back and forth moves, we will see decent agility when first touch is in play. And if you go further and use L1, then in addition to speed boost, you can even get past goalkeepers. Of course, if everything goes right. Does he lack trickster and skill moves? Of course he does. But again, a small window of sharp animations gives a chance to confuse the opponent in tight spaces. Frankly, you can even avoid dribbling altogether, just receive the ball, turn at least halfway toward goal, and shoot a golazo into the top corner. Also, our guy is tall enough and has aerial, which means he's useful on corners. Another thing is that scoring headers requires more effort than scoring a bicycle kick, though Ferdy can do that too. Unexpectedly, we move to a moment with our stam. As you can see, the guy calmly destroys Rooney with a light touch of the hand. Now let's look at the opponent's stam and how hard it is for him against Rio, which leads to a dangerous episode. It goes further. The great and unbreakable Virgil van Dijk tries to push Ferdinand, but to no avail. Here's another episode with Van Dijk and Rio Ferdinand's domination. In short, a lean body type is not a sign of weakness. On top of that, our guy has decent defensive stats and aggression, so he easily takes the ball even from serious players like Theo. And yes, thanks to all this, Ferdy can be used as a cam. However, just tiki-taka will not be enough, so we don't recommend it. To sum up, despite the wild fact that this Ferdy is a striker and not a defender, the card is great. Yes, he clearly lacks skill moves and trickster. Sometimes he lacks consistent speed boost, but this is compensated by pace on lengthy acceleration. Top-notch shooting. Again, finesse, trivela, and low-driven shot. What else do you need for happiness? Simply put, he is worth doing. Personally, we like this guy more than yesterday's Haaland. That's how it is. If you have any questions, write them in the comments, we will try to answer quickly. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss interesting reviews. Thanks for watching till the end and see you in new videos.